Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Simsbury Planning Commission. Today is Tuesday, June 8th, 2021. And share. All who can, please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, awesome. Let's go on to taking attendance. Let me know if you're here by saying here or I. Holly Bem? Are you guys hearing me?
Yeah,
Yep.
Holly Bem?
he's muted.
Unmute.
Yeah, sorry about that here. I thought
Okay. David Blumey? Erin Levitt-Smith?
here.
Craig McCormack?
Go.
Alan Needham?
Here.
Rice William here, present. Rich Cortez?
Here.
Julie Eaton?
Here.
All right. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regular members attending at the moment. I don't see Dave coming in late. Let me see, what did we do last time? Last time Julie was seated. So Rich, this time I would ask you to be seated.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's save that file. Okay. And let's move on the agenda. We have the approval of the minute. Oh, question? No. Okay. Let's review the minutes of the May 11th, 2021 meeting. Alan, are you prepared to guide us through this?
Yep.
Do?
Okay. Regarding the minutes from May 11, page 1, that's lines 1 through 50. Anybody have any changes or corrections?
Not for me.
Sounds like no. All right. Page 2, lines 51 through 99.
And lines 87 and 88. I was just confused as to what that sentence, those two sentences, it didn't read right to me, but I'm not sure what it's supposed to say.
87, 88.
So, decision of the Board of Selectmen, a deed restriction that no structures or development within the R2B combined.
It should be area.
Okay,
Within
area.
The area to be combined. So
Okay.
the area to be combined with 133 Holcomb Street.
So R should be area then on line 87.
I agree.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And then on 95, SE should be set to expire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Good catch.
It's line 95.
On my copy it is. I know
No,
sometimes.
it is. Yeah, it's mine too. Yeah,
Okay.
SE should read set, S-E-T. Yep. Very good.
For that page. All right. Final page, lines 100 through 128.
So again, I think the very first two lines, I think maybe on line 102 is commissions supposed to be comments. On line one, at the end of line.
Maybe he's going to bring the commissions to the town.
I think it was commission's concerns or
Yeah,
comment.
there's something missing there because I'm like, we're not going to bring the commissions to the, I just wasn't sure what that was supposed to be either.
So let's change the word commission. So let's put an apostrophe S and call it commission's
Comments.
comments. Yeah.
To the town. Okay, yeah.
Another good one, Aaron. Good job.
Anything else on that page? Okay.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the planning commission meeting Tuesday, May 11th, 2021 as amended.
I seconded.
Holly seconds. Okay, Alan, you can run the vote.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm going to abstain. I wasn't present.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks, Alan. That motion passes. Great. Thank you. Okay, referring back to the agenda, I see there were no action or activities under public hearing, no activities under old business. We do have a little bit of activity under new business. We have a referral from the zoning commission concerning text amendments / changes to section 5.3 and 5.5 of the zoning regulations regarding industrial zones. So that's zoning application 21-12 submitted by Mr. Michael Glidden,
We know him.
representing the town of Simsbury. So Michael, can you enlighten us on these proposed text amendments, please?
Sure. So the zoning commission, we've been talking about this for about 3 months now, of diversifying the uses that are allowed in our zoning, in our industrial zones, mainly because prior to this proposal, we were really limited to either industrial uses such as Ensign Bickford or professional office space. Before COVID, Simsbury had 200,000 square feet of vacant office space. After COVID, I don't have the current numbers. My guess is that's substantially larger. So what the commission did was they wanted to look at what makes sense to add uses that we can add into the uses allowed in our industrial zones, mainly with the focus on some of it's going to be retrofitting a lot of that office space that's not going to be office. And I've heard concerns with some of the property owners in town that own some of those buildings, like, I'm going to struggle to fill this. What are my other options? So we looked at several communities which were similar in size for population, area, and then medium income with Simsbury. And we had about 5 of them that we used. And we went through their industrial regs and looked at, so what do they allow in theirs that we don't in ours? And what makes sense to add to ours versus, way off the line, no, we're not going to pursue it. So the proposal that's in the memorandum, that's the final version that was approved by the zoning commission and set for a public hearing. If you want me to go through, I can go through line by line, but really the one thing that was a concern with the zoning commission, that was a little independent of adding uses to the zoning district, was clarifying some of our existing uses. We have a regulation that kind of conflicted itself, where at one stage it said warehousing and storage wasn't allowed in both districts, and in other page it said, oh, it's allowed by site plan approval. So that was just a general housekeeping item that we tackled as a low-hanging fruit. But some of the other things were, one was defining self-storage. We have self-storage developments in town, and however, it was based on the conflict between not permitting storage and permitting storage. The commission felt it gave kind of uncertainty to applicants that were looking to propose that use in town in the industrial zones. And I'm on page 2 of 6 from the proposal right now. I'm into page 3. We also kind of clarified some of the uses that are allowed, that are subject to the siting council approval, because if a telecommunication use is proposed in Simsbury, it's really jurisdiction of the siting council. The siting council functions as the zoning commission. So what we did was we put it as a use, but it's an as of right use that doesn't require an approval from the zoning commission. We also tackled, we had some uses having to do with manufacturing sandstone, basically similar to quarrying or processing. We've deleted that from the regulations. You really don't have properties in town where you're going to see a quarry pop up or a similar sort of use. And to begin with, those types of uses are, from a zoning perspective, traditionally the ones we hear the most complaints about, from noise, dust, just general, basically nuisance issues that the abutting property owners. So we felt that, it's something that really should have come out of the zoning regulations. When you get down to page, I'm on page 4 of 6 now.
Okay.
That's where the blue text is, and that's some of the new stuff that we're adding. As I said, the first two uses that are added to the table are a clarification on stuff that's approved, telecommunication features that are approved by the siting council. They don't require a permit. They don't require commission action, because the siting council already, as I said earlier, because of state statute, functions as the zoning commission. We're really just advisory to their actions. Open space, believe it or not, it wasn't allowed in the industrial zoning district. So that was something that we felt it was worth adding. Medical offices. So I said earlier that professional offices were allowed, but believe it or not, you can have the Hartford Insurance campus in an industrial zone, and right next to it have like a 10,000 square foot building, and say a doctor wanted to open up their practice there. They could not go into that building. So that was something and we've heard this in the 8 years I've been here in Simsbury. I've heard several people look at, for example, the professional building that was in front of the tennis center, which was previously zoned industrial. That property owner wanted to get doctors in there, had doctors looking to go in there, and because it was zoned industrial and our regs were so limited on the uses that are allowed, they could not go into the space. So portion of that building sat vacant for a while till he rezoned the property.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We are introducing retail, but with a scaled perspective. Anything below 20,000 square feet would be as of right. Anything above would trigger a special permit or public hearing process with the commission. Educational uses by special permit. And lastly, not lastly, it's a little more, childcare nursery facilities. We've heard that that's another use that would fit. Industrial indoor theaters. The comment was really for the theaters uses really indoors. However, from a recreational standpoint, which I'll get to later, the commission felt, indoor didn't make or break the use. It could be outdoors. There could be a reuse of a property that has an outdoor recreational use, such as the softball fields that are going in and they're completed in Windsor would be a great example. Kennels, and lastly was by special permit, the conversion of buildings for residential uses, provided the structure was built prior to January 1st, 2021. We really wanted to stress that 2021 date, as that's when we're starting the clock. If you're going to convert office space into apartments, for example, or residential use, the intent of this change is really filling vacant space. It is not saying we're going to now allow carte blanche residential uses in the industrial zones. The last section, and I apologize, it probably should have been on top. As we were reviewing the uses, both existing and proposed, the commission felt the bulk requirements for the I-1 and I-2 zoning districts were actually reversed, and maybe somehow, some way during the process of previous amendments to the code that those were changed. So we're changing it back. So now, for example, the I-1 zoning district will have a minimum lot size of 10 acres versus the I-2 zoning district will not have a minimum lot size. In the I2 zoning district, example being would be the NC Bickford campus. That's an I2 zoning district. We don't have a lot of I2 in town. We have a lot of I1. And I apologize. I realized after I uploaded the application to your Dropbox, I also put the zoning map in there. And I don't know if the commission has a question on, where this would geographically, where you can see the impacts in town. I'd be happy to go to kind of scan the zoning map for the commission.
I don't need to particularly see it, Mike. No, thanks.
No.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? I got lost on the change in acreage or lot size for I1 and I2. So it was written that I1 had a minimum lot size of 10 acres. Now I1 has no minimum. Is that
Oh,
right?
I'm sorry. Yes, that's right.
That's not what you said, I don't think.
I'm sorry. I reversed it.
Okay.
I scrolled up. I'm sorry. I was reading the existing as I was talking, and
So does that mean if somebody has a house on Hot Meadow Street and can rezone it to I1, they can put any kind of retail in there, or on any street for that matter?
Well, first off, the property would have to be abutting an industrial zone. They couldn't just land it in the middle of a block that there's not a abutting property that's zoned industrial.
So you can't have an orphan I1. Is that what you're saying?
That's what's called. That would be what's called spot zoning under.
That's why I brought it up. Okay. So what's the impetus of all of this? Just what you were telling us, that there's a lot of commercial space going to waste, and maybe we should broaden the uses available in that space?
Yep, that's correct. That's really what's driving this one.
Nothing like an application in the wings that we're trying to make it work? No?
That's cynical, Alan.
It is. I'm
I had
good
the
at
same thought, honestly.
nothing to do with Tractor Supply or anything.
Tractor Supply actually was approved last night. That property is actually zoned B1, so that use was allowed.
Okay, so B1, that was not a problem then. Okay.
Mike, just, I don't know, kind of an editorial comment on page 3, with the reference to public utility station, substations, and the second one, open space and passive recreation. The disposition is okay. That okay is not really defined like the SE and SP and no are. I'm just wondering if maybe that should be expanded on a little bit.
Yeah, I apologize. That should have been on the first page. It's actually right from our existing regs. So the code that we use throughout the use charts,
Yeah.
SP site plan, SC special exception, okay, no permit, no is not allowed.
Oh, okay, so
I apologize. That should have been added to the key. It's in the regs and all the other charts. So
Okay.
That's
the only comment I have. Nothing
So
related.
in those uses, I'm sorry, Bill.
No, go
In
ahead.
those uses where it says SP, that means that it's okay if the site plan is okay, if it meets all our regulations.
correct.
So I have a question for you. Why are warehouses out when self-storage is allowed further down, or is that included in self-storage?
So warehouses is on page. It's actually, so we took it out on one section because, like I said, if you go to the top of page 2,
Yeah.
warehouses are allowed with warehouses and the manufacturing, processing, assembly of goods by site plan approval. That's in the existing regs.
Yeah.
And then that's where I was saying the conflict popped up, where later in the regs it said, well, it's only allowed in one district and not the other one by special exception. So
You're
that
correct. I
conflict.
didn't make that connection earlier.
So
So I'm sorry, hey, Rich, let's continue that line of thought. So, yeah, on the top of page 2, Mike, it says warehouses and the manufacture, processing, or assembly of goods, site plan approval for both I1, I2. And then 1, 2, 3 down, warehouse, wholesale, or storage is not allowed in I-1, but would be allowed by site plan in I-2. Is there a
So-
difference between those warehouses?
So that warehouse, wholesale, and storage that you're referring to, it's red text. That's going to be deleted.
Oh, that's out. Okay.
That's where that conflict was between
Right,
those
right.
two.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay.
That's okay.
And I had a question about the retail over 20,000 square feet. Was that something that we have to have in there? Is it something that we can exclude from there? Just kind of explain to me how we get that, because the last time we had something proposed at 20,000 big box, there was a great furor over it. So I'm going to try to understand how it's included here if, generally speaking, townspeople don't want it to happen, or is it in a case-by-case basis?
You're talking about Target, Rich?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
Target
I'm just
was
looking
much
at the
bigger
greater
than
than
20,000. Target was much bigger than 20,000.
Right.
How big was it, Alan?
Pardon?
How big was it?
The whole project, I recall, was, if I remember right, 2/3 the size of West Farms Mall, or 3/4. It was huge.
Right. So that would still fit within what's in the
Really?
list for inclusion. So I'm just trying to get an understanding of why it's there. Does it have to be there? And legally, can you sort of tell me
So
about that?
That's certainly been kicked around a lot. Isn't Fitzy's like 26,000 square feet?
That's
Okay,
correct.
and I believe it or not, that's where I think the 20 came from. Something not quite as big as Fitzy's, but because everybody knows Fitzy's and they had it in their mind how big that is. I may be wrong in that, but that's what I seem to remember. That was kind of the benchmark. So I hear what you're saying, Rich, but I think you need some kind of number.
You do need some kind of number. So that's why I'm asking. So if Fitzy's is 20,000,
26.
26, whatever, it's greater
I
than
think
20.
I'm right. Yeah.
But that greater than 20 includes everything greater than 20. So my question is, would another stopgap be appropriate there, or do we just have to leave it at that level?
So Rich, are you suggesting that that someone establish another square footage and then say not allowed?
I'm just asking if that's a consideration, if that's something that was held for discussion. I'm just trying to get a history on it. That's all. I'm not suggesting anything yet.
Okay.
So Mike, the original draft, I had a not to exceed number in there. And the commission felt that it was the consensus of the group that was present that the not to exceed was not required in the regs.
Hey, Mike,
So, yep.
could you explain, for my benefit anyway, special acceptance, what exactly we're talking about there?
So if an application goes through a special exception process, it's a public hearing process. It's a use that has been identified due to its unique characteristics that trigger a public hearing. And during that process, they are held to a different standard. There is some criteria in the regs that they now have to abide to. A lot of that criteria, which is above and beyond the traditional, like meet your setbacks, your lot coverage, et cetera, your parking requirements, have to do with, general impacts such as traffic, infrastructure, landscaping, the kind of things that you say, I don't want to live next to that unless I can't see it or hear it or smell it.
Right.
Um,
That's what I thought, or I expected for you to say. So, Rich, I wonder whether, having heard that and knowing that the over 20,000 is special acceptance, does that alleviate your concerns at all, or no?
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, and that's what I was trying to do, is get that kind of information. Was there any discussion of what I was talking about at zoning regarding that kind of second level stopgap type thing, or did that just not enter into it?
No, it actually was, make it simple, keep it at the 20,000. Like I said, my original,
Okay.
I had a proposal. It was from Bloomfield, which had kind of a tiered approach, and it was a little complicated. So they said, no, just keep it at, here's the cutoff for site plan, then it's special exception. And then if we're dealing with special exception, like I said earlier, we have the other criteria in place where we can say no. Unlike, obviously a site plan, if they meet the regs, the commission's kind of obligated to approve it.
Okay, thanks. I'm sorry for having my camera off. I just realized it was off. My apologies.
Problem.
I don't like when people do that to me in a meeting. I make them turn it on. So you say something if I mess that up again.
Oh, we just assumed you were going to take a nap.
Never.
Okay, commissioners, any further discussion on this referred application? Anyone? Yeah,
Is this going to have the result of promoting more self-storage places?
No. I mean, really, the key to this reg is how do we fill that 200,000+ square feet of a professional office space?
Okay.
That's really the impetus on this. It's not self-storage. That's not what's driving the boat. The self-storage only was in there because the commission felt there needed to be clarification, because there was a disagreement that certain members felt self-storage wasn't storage. It had more of a retail component, very different from storage.
And this would allow, I don't know how you do it, but conversion of empty office space into housing.
Yes.
That may be a saving grace for us at some point.
Well, and
The
what
way to
drove
save the
that?
Hartford.
Yeah, what drove that was, what's going on in Hartford right now. I don't know if everyone's seen it, that they're converting some office space into apartments now.
I did hear that.
So, because you have at least one professional office building that's completely vacant. The former Simsbury Bank building, which is just north of Chubb Insurance, that's vacant completely.
Wow.
It's under. There's still a contract. Their Liberty Bank is making lease payments, but that is a vacant building for you.
Is that Greenberg's building?
That's correct. He owns that one, and he's a partner with the Chubb, sort of like a condo agreement with Chubb Insurance.
That's a lot of building.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike, remind me, does a text amendment go to a public hearing?
It will.
Okay. Yeah, this is a pretty substantial text amendment. This is, they just, didn't the zoning commission just rewrite the regulations?
Yes, and actually we work, when we started the first reorg of the regs, the industrial zones was something that we wanted to tackle, but we put it as a phase 2.
Okay.
And between COVID and just the general research that I did about what do we have for office vacancies, that's really what pushed this thing to the forefront. Because there's another text amendment coming regarding the sign regulations in the near future too, which we have to do because of court cases. Okay. So these are the more complicated issues that you're going to start seeing from the zoning commission as they tackle their regs.
Are text amendments the appropriate way to do these things?
That's the only option we have.
Okay.
No, it could be a revision to the regulation.
That's what I thought.
I know, I'm with Alan. Text amendments, when I saw that, Alan, I thought of you. It always makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, I think, Alan, that may be the source of your comment about is there a particular reason that this was submitted? Because we have seen in the past trying to tailor the regulation to allow a particular use, a very specific use.
Yeah.
Have we had court cases over the sign issues? Or is that just statewide?
Statewide.
Okay.
And federal. There's a Supreme Court case that's pushing it. So we've been waiting to see what everyone else is going to do, but we can't wait any longer. That case was back in 2014. It's time to tackle it.
Oh,
Forgive
Okay.
me for asking, but what was the case?
Reed versus Gilbert. It's related to how sign regulations create classes based on users, and you can't regulate by users. So we have to change our regs to go more geographic and by zoning district. So the zoning commission is in the final stages of preparing that, so that you will be seeing more work, like I said, on their regs coming. But these are the more complex issues that we didn't want to tie the other project up with this work.
You're talking about general signs? I'm not understanding. Oh, like,
Yeah, I don't want to go too far down
Yeah.
down that
Well,
rabbit hole,
I
but
think we're going to learn
it's-
all about that soon. Yeah.
I just want to, at least in fairness to this commission, so you have something else coming. And we've been working with Bob DiCrescenzo on that one. So that's, we have to do that one. It's a tough conversation.
and what was the zoning with the Tractor Supply?
What do you mean by the zoning? What
Well,
is it zoning?
approved one.
Something was approved last night?
So, yeah, they went before zoning for two special exceptions and a site plan approval for the demolition of the existing bowling alley and miniature golf course for the construction of a new retail. The special exceptions were for parking reduction and outdoor storage.
And it was approved?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
When did the bowling alley close? I feel like I must really be out of it.
Nobody went there.
like a year ago.
Yeah.
Well, we're right up there with Winstead now, getting a Tractor Supply. Social climbing, good for us.
I think Litchfield's getting one too.
Who
Alan,
is?
Litchfield.
I think that Tractor Supply Company is in Barkhamsted.
It's in
You
Winstead.
might be right. Yeah, it's right on the,
Right there. Yeah.
My wife says it's actually New Hartford.
Ah!
It's at sort of the corner there.
Are you sure that there's the Home Depot in New Hartford that's on the Torrington line?
Right.
That's true.
Right.
I think it's past New Hartford.
I think
Yeah, it's in Barkhamsted. It's on that line with Barkhamsted and Winstead.
It's right past the turn for West Hill Pond.
I just want to say on behalf of my chickens, I'm happy I don't have to drive so far to buy them feed and scratch.
So, Mike, do you remember what's the square footage of that?
19,000 square feet.
Okay, so it would fit
Mhm.
under that.
That would be a junior box. That's going to be a good example now. And then just for point of reference too. So Alan was right. So we got to make sure that's marked in the minutes. Fitzy's is like 26,000 square feet, 24,000 square feet. And then the other comparison is Andy's was just about 18,000 square feet.
For the whole building or just that?
Just the grocery store.
Yeah.
The Andy's grocery store was 18,000 square feet.
And is that project imminent now?
Yeah,
Andy's?
they're starting to do something on the facade. I drove by
What's
today.
going to happen? What's going to go in there?
So the zoning commission will have a public hearing next week in 2 weeks. There's at least a Mexican restaurant that the group or the chef that's opening it owns and operates one in Glastonbury. I've been told that it's a very it's kind of the place to be in Glastonbury. So they're coming to town. And there's been talk about another tenant potentially in the building, large tenant. So that they've stepped up, they've started the facade work. You'll probably see a lot of activity in the upcoming weeks over there.
So, Mike, that the Mexican restaurant, are they using the Dunkin' Donuts spot, or are they expanding?
They're using the Dunkin' Donuts spot.
Huh? I don't
Just
remember
a
that being all
little-
that big. Yeah.
It's gonna be takeout?
No, there will be sit down there and outdoor seating underneath the overhang.
Not
So-
much.
So One
Not
thing
much.
about development that always gets me going is that the number of vacant storefronts, for example, along Route 44. A friend of mine used to own that kitchen place. It's been empty for 6 years. And I'm told that not Amazon, Whole Foods can't get tenants for all the stuff they're building around them.
Yeah.
So
I
just
heard
there
that
are
too.
no new customers, ladies and gentlemen. When if you build something, you're just taking them from some other place.
So Mike, do you know what they're looking at to put where Andy's itself was?
Oh, hey, can we get back on track with the
Yeah.
application, please?
Yeah, and it's very preliminary. I can't discuss that right now.
Yeah, we do have commission discussion on the referral of the application, so we should address that. Would someone like to make a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion that we return a positive referral to zoning application 21-12 regarding modifications to section 5.3 and 5.5 of the Simsbury zoning regulations, citing its, let's say, consistency to the Simsbury plan of zoning, plan of conservation and development.
Second,
All in favor of the proposal or the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we have unanimous decision. Thank you very much. Okay, Mike, so you can pass that along to the zoning commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sponsor referral motion. Who seconded that motion? Sorry, who was that?
Craig seconded.
Craig. Okay, thank you. Okay, back to the agenda. Now we're at general commission business. Nothing posted or advertised here. Like we kind of touched on a couple of comments. So this might be a more appropriate time to make any other comments or ask questions.
so I know, Mike, I heard you mention to Holly that it was something preliminary at Andy's. You can't say much more than that. I've always been curious about the pool barn, at the Cumberland Farms there. Anything happening there at all?
No, and I haven't heard from Mr. Evans in a while. I know he had some family issues that he's been dealing with. So nothing new to update over there. A lot of it, honestly, the big problem with that project that we've heard is every tenant that wants to go in there wants the property owner to pay for improvements or provide a reduction of rent while they're under construction. And his problem is that they want to sign short-term leases, but as soon as that first commercial tenant goes in there, he has to sprinkler the building and he has to heat the upstairs, et cetera, et cetera. So he's trying to get someone like, can you commit to like a 5-10 year lease instead of they want to?
Right.
That's been a difficulty on that.
Yeah. That
So-
thing's been, what, 5-10 years? It's been a long time, I think, right?
About 7 years now, I think, because I started right after I started was when they were before the Wetlands Commission, and I'll be coming up on 8 years now. So yeah, about 7 years.
So that's
I
all
think it-
for new tenants in what used to be a pool barn?
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be apartments, so it'd be mixed use. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we
How'd
got
they
away
get a
with that.
permit to build without sprinklers?
I couldn't hear the question.
How'd they get the permit without having sprinklers?
So all he did was basically the exterior improvements. He hasn't touched the interior of the building. That's just the shell inside.
Yeah.
So that's how he split the baby and basically said, oh, when I get the commercial space below, I'll sprinkle the building and then start working on the apartments above.
He didn't
Sure.
split the baby. I have a
You know.
different opinion on that,
Yeah.
but let's move on. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
So does Alan, right, Alan?
What's that?
So do you, right?
Yeah.
Well, I like truth tellers.
Yeah.
They're my favorite.
I agree.
Well, he got his Cumberland Farms. That's what he wanted.
Michael, any update on in-person meetings? What's going on there?
So we are preparing for hybrid meetings. There's a bill that's in the General Assembly that's going to permit us to have hybrid meetings. Right now, I believe that the deadline for remote is, or the day that we're going to look to go back to some form of in-person is June 20th. And the town is basically investing in what's called the OWL Labs to accommodate, so we can have some of us in person, and if anyone's uncomfortable and they want to still stay remote, they will be able to be in the meeting remote and still be able to stay home and Zoom in. So also the thing too, moving forward, if this also becomes a law, is, if anyone, has travels, work, pleasure, etc., but still wants to attend a meeting, you're going to still have an option to do that. If you want to. You're not obligated.
Our next meeting then would be on the 22nd. So we should be prepared to be in person if we're comfortable.
Yeah. And wait on that, because there may be another executive order coming. And the rumor we've heard is it may be extended to July 20th.
Okay.
Because a lot of what I think what the governor's hearing from various communities is those of us who have been entirely remote, we're not prepared to do hybrid yet. We're buying stuff, setting things up, coordinating. I mean, it's a fire drill. And, I think that you may see this extended to July 20th, but then that would mean July 20th is the cutoff date.
Okay.
But if we're supposed to be in person for the next meeting, I will try to reach out to the commission, not the Friday of the meeting, maybe the week before, to kind of say, listen, we're at the Terrafill room in the library. I need to know who's comfortable attending the meeting in person, who wants to zoom in.
Okay.
And it's based on your level of comfort. The two things I'd say that, because we're going to, and the other thing too, might as well say this, we're going to be at the library when we are in person. We will not be at town hall.
Yeah.
We will be using the library because it just has more room there. So what comes with that is, unless things change, we have to wear masks when we're in person at the library. So I want to be honest, everyone. We're going to be implementing that will be, unless things change at the library. As soon as we walk in, make sure you have your mask on.
So Mike, I'll say that personally, I'm comfortable and happy to be there. I'm right now currently working remotely out of state. So if there's an option to continue to Zoom in, I'd be more than happy to do that. Of course, when I'm in town, I prefer to be in person with you guys.
All right, let's see how it plays out. Thanks for that update, Mike.
Welcome.
Any applications, in the wings that maybe we should be cognizant of?
So since the referendum was approved, you will be getting a subdivision application for Meadowwood. Basically, it's going to be consolidating the lots and, parceling off the lot that the town is purchasing, the 24 acres. And then the rest will be parceled based on the funding source.
Oh, you froze up on us.
It's cute in that position.
Just messing with us. It's not his computer.
Yeah, Mike, we lost you.
So it sounds like the 24 acres that, like the fields, and then the rest will be off. Is that? Yeah.
I actually hadn't thought about this aspect of it. Hey, Mike, you're back.
Here we go. Sorry. So So just to prep Meadowwood, it's a re-subdivision application, will be coming to this commission. Basically, it's dividing into 4 or 5 parcels. One, the 24 acres going to the town. The balance will be based on the funding sources because they have different deed restrictions. So that will be coming and will be a public hearing for this commission. My guess is, if I had to say, probably your August meeting.
Okay. So it'll be subdivided to reflect the purchase entities, or, yeah, okay. Then they'll all have their own
Will
restrictions.
there will be a presentation from probably TPL and or Bob DiCrescenzo to kind of explain all the moving parts associated with this proposal.
Okay.
But it's consistent with what was approved by referendum.
Okay, not a surprise then.
No.
Okay, commissioners, any other questions or comments? No, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, Aaron, thank you.
I second.
Holly seconds. All in favor of adjourning the motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries and the meeting is adjourned.